have spoken, and they're saying they want more years of douchebag.
Yo, welcome guys back to EP3 with Emiel Durbal. Is that right? Yeah.
Emiel Durbal, yeah.
Conversation I've been waiting for a while. We studied at uni for a very short period together until I left.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where he is now, how he's thinking, what's up. So yeah, I'm gonna start with a basic thing to introduce you to the audience, and would be, what are your top 3 hobbies?
My top 3 hobbies. Okay. Ooh. I like cooking. I think that's definitely up there. Cooking, the graphic design. And you know what? During lockdown, gardening has definitely been up there in one of the hobbies that I have to put in the list. 100%.
Like, is it therapeutic for you? Is that what it feels like?
Do you know what it is? It is very therapeutic, and because of lockdown, we couldn't go out, and like the open space, like in the garden, that was the best, 100%. But like for mental stability.
See, I didn't have that problem. I was away. I was in Lithuania, so I mean,
Okay.
The thing is, when you got nature everywhere, they just can't keep up with you. So like, you're going everywhere you want, and obviously lockdown, no lockdown, it wasn't like that in Lithuania. Here, you could still go out for 1 hour though.
You could. But I think, yeah, I mean, like the garden centers were open, and like you could go in there and get what you needed and then bring it back and sort out your garden. Do you know what I mean? So I did a little bit of gardening over that, and I was happy with, what we ended up doing in the garden and all that stuff. But yeah, I think gardening definitely up there.
I've never heard of
I'm getting old now.
You're getting
old, so I'm 20, but you know what I mean? Like,
when you turn in 21?
Next July.
So I'm older.
Yeah.
Just to mention that to everyone. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into university. We joined together. Did you want to go to university at all? Like, I want to go back to sixth form times and sort of figure out what was the thing between your parents? What was your thoughts about it? What was the whole idea?
I personally wanted to go, but I think my mom definitely influenced like my choice to go. She went to uni. She had a great experience there, and I think she definitely encouraged it for me, and she's encouraging it for my brother too, even though he's a little bit more reluctant than I was when I was in sixth form. But I knew that, uni could be a valuable asset for my career, not just the degree, but the sort of people I meet at uni. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I sort of decided to take the bullet and go. But I knew that I wanted to stay in London.
Yeah.
That was definitely the thing for me. I wanted to stay in London, and and I have some regrets about staying in London. But I think going to uni was definitely a decision made by myself and my mum, for sure.
Okay, good. For me, the one point you picked on, which for me sort of stands out, is the connections as well. Like, one of the premises behind this podcast is sort of building back the relationships I lost, but sort of left behind, but also want to like network myself out a bit, because when you disappear for a while and you work with yourself, you have your small circle, but if you ever need to reach out anywhere for anything to collab, there's nothing there, and it's really difficult to move from there. But like, tell me, so what do you regret about staying in London? What was that specific?
I think staying in London, I'm staying at home. I think that's probably where the majority of what I'm saying sort of, I think if I went in halls, it would have been a bit more, there would have been more of a social life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Than being at home. I think that's definitely what it is. But living in London, there's no point me going in and staying in a halls when I'm 40 minutes tube journey from the uni. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, I'd be paying 150 to 200 quid a week. You know what I mean? In accommodation, which I don't even need. So
do you think is the problem that when you go to uni, you literally go, then you go back home, and there's not a lot of time you actually spend in the university itself, and you actually just rely solely on your house and what you have there. Like you have all the equipment, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm still debating whether I regret not staying at home or not. Do you know what I mean? I'm still debating whether I do. I think for the most part, I don't regret it just because of the financial side of things and the stability of being at home. You see what I mean?
You're talking about being with your parents then as well, in a sense.
Yeah. Exactly. So, as you've mentioned, I've got everything at home. I can come home. I've got all my equipment. I've got my setup already set up for me. You know what I mean? So I can come home and I can do my work. I think if I were to stay, in accommodation, I'd need to take a whole chunk of my life from home and put it there. And it wouldn't make sense for me being in London. Do you know what I mean? Like it would be like a car journey or something, like a small car journey. It wouldn't make sense, but I think the sort of experience, the uni experience, I slightly did miss out on by staying at home, I'd say.
But is that one of the things you think is like, I look at sacrifice in the sense that, okay, me personally, for anyone who knows me and who doesn't know me, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm not that type of guy, nor do I party. So I don't do that. I'd personally socialize, go to a restaurant, theater, that's my type of way, maybe like sports. But for me, it seems like you want to have some of that party life, it sounds. You want to have...
I'm the same as you. I don't drink, I don't smoke. So
what makes it difficult? What makes it difficult for you to feel like
I think do you know what it is? It's the sort of especially living in halls where you're in such close proximity of your friends. Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of experience, that sort of uni experience. Do you know what I mean? And I think
a bad experience with that though. Like NCS.
Really?
NCS, yeah.
I was just about to mention NCS. I didn't do NCS. Do you know what I mean? So I saw.
You're so lucky. Yeah. You're so lucky. Dude,
really?
I literally, I'd swear and cuss the hell out of it, but I'm just gonna refrain from it. I went to UEL and we stayed in the accommodations, I think, for like 3 days. If you ever just walk in there, it's like a prison cell, man. I'm saying everything is identical. You move left, the same thing is reflected on the other side. I'm saying nothing's different. You hear that, okay, let's say the location might not be so good. You hear the aeroplanes flying away. But I'm saying the accommodations are, and I went to Cambridge University as well. And that was, for me, terrible. A lot of things just don't add up. Like economically, staying with your parents makes sense. Like in a sense, you're saying you're missing that out. I'm sort of also saying that I have to bear with my parents as well because I can't do some things, but our choices in not being in the sense of that social life and that party life, I don't feel we lose anything except for the part you might need to travel now to get there.
Mm-hmm.
You NCS, you're good you stayed away, man. I just can't. I don't even want to get into that, man. That was like
really. I think that definitely was, according to my mates back in school and sixth form, that was their sort of like ease into the uni life. Do you know what I mean? Because it was around sixth form time, I think. And I sort of
I was
into that life.
Yeah, I was first year of sixth form, I think, but it was only 2 of us from that year, and then everyone else was younger. And I'm saying there were some moments I might have enjoyed. Like we went hiking, we slept in tents, but everything else just like was cringe for me, and I just couldn't. The people, just everything, I just couldn't bear with it, and that again comes with university as well. Maybe the overwhelming amount of people there, and just that knowing that I have to like go filter through so many people to acknowledge who I actually get along with, or like obviously we get to know someone with some positives and negatives, but you want to gain something from each other in a sense, like you enjoy the time you spend together.
Definitely.
And I can't, that's one of the reasons I left uni as well, because I didn't see a lot of people using their time well, and I was just getting frustrated. So, but tell me, so it's last year now, right?
Final year.
Tell me, what's it like? Has it changed a lot? Is it very Like, does it ask a lot from you, sense of work?
Yeah, I'd say the virus definitely changed the whole model. Like it changed everything, 100%. And I think that wasn't really helpful. You know what I mean? For the final year, it wasn't really the best time for it to come in. Because obviously this is the grade that counts. You know, this is what I'm going to be, taking with me.
Yeah.
This is the grade, and I think the virus definitely came in and changed the whole,
How did it change?
working at home. Like literally, I took it for granted going into uni.
Yeah.
I took it for granted, but being forced to stay at home and do the work, what they did do, which I do respect, is they actually did cater for the situation. They did sort of like take into account, so we didn't have to print certain materials because we couldn't. Do you know what I mean? And that sort of eased work at home. But I think the whole mental side of it was definitely the biggest part, the biggest difficulty of the third year.
I mean, I'd say it's quite a good transition to the fact that I don't know what's your idea after uni. Are you going to be self-employed? Are you going to go work for an advertising agency or whatever? I feel like the fact, let's put in the direction of being self-employed. I feel you learn to work with yourself and you're managing your time based off your own schedule, and you're doing client work. It might get lonely, but then you can arrange for time to go meet other people. So it might have prepared you for that. But obviously during
Maybe, yeah,
you meet with other
yeah,
people.
definitely. I mean, I've always done my freelance. I've done that for, I started off doing that when I was younger, and I still do it, on the side from uni. But I think definitely you're right in the sense that it has prepared me for something much bigger. I completely agree. But I think obviously during the time of the virus, people were financially struggling. So people had their financial struggles. So I was on and off work. Sorry?
Well, you didn't get furloughed, no?
No. Because I'm just working as a freelancer. Yeah. So anyone that was a freelancer or anyone that had their own businesses were, during lockdown, it wasn't a good time for them because I don't think they could have got furloughed.
Did you try? Because I think they did this. They gave money out to small businesses. Did you take it upon yourself?
No, I didn't really look into it. Because I do it so loosely. Do you know what I mean? It's like a job here and there. It's not, something I rely on. Do you know what I mean?
What? Because for me, when I was in sixth form, I didn't want to do the work. I wanted to do as much more client work and as much more work that could just maybe because I was so attached to money back then. But if I'd want to get paid, like I want to.
Yeah.
I want to build my client base, and you're telling me I need to do this and this ain't added up. What's your priority now being in university? Is it the university, the work? Is it the client work? How are you managing that and all of the work?
Do you know what, Thomas? I should be saying uni. I should be saying uni, but for me, building the brand. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm focusing on now. Do you know what I mean? And my uni teachers would kill me, but like I'm not really I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm not really putting my all into my uni work.
Yeah, that's good.
And
that's what I want to hear because I'm going to challenge you later on, and I'm going to
hear
your honesty in the sense.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, it's debate. You're doing work that's relatable. Like, okay, any personal work you do for people, can that any way be moved into the university work?
Absolutely. 100%. It's definitely helped me. 100%. I think I wouldn't be as relaxed as I am now with my uni if I didn't do what I do on the side. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I would, because there are aspects of the freelance work and the client work which ties so well with my uni stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I think if I didn't have that, I'd be screwed for uni.
What's the brief you're doing now?
Right now it's self-initiated, so I can pick whatever I want to do. I can choose. Huh?
What did you choose?
I was very confused about the whole thing. I wasn't sure about how it worked or whatever. So I had to pick something quite quickly. So I decided to do children's book illustrations. But then I sort of, you see, I tied this in with what what I'd used to build my brand, which would be Instagram content. You see what I'm saying? So like, for example, if you look on my page, there'll be like a lot of animal illustrations.
Okay. Yeah.
What I sort of did was I sort of tied that in with my uni project so that I could use those illustrations or use that concept to bring it into my uni and ease the workload. You see what I'm saying?
So you're using your Instagram work for your university, which would be,
Not that teachers would kill me. I'm not doing that.
it makes so much sense though.
Yeah.
If it would me personally, I'd prioritize that and then filter the work into uni and just fill in the gaps, but making sure that that's the highest quality, because you'll be getting paid from that maybe, or building your brand in that same sense, you know.
Yeah.
I think do you think uni lacks business integration?
I think right now they are expecting us to research studios and like design labs who are working in like a in like a core
1 second, you're gonna have to repeat. You went glitchy.
cooperative way, but I don't know whether they're actually. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you glitched out for a bit. For 1 second, you're frozen a bit, but it should come back. Say something. No.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you, but
can you hear me?
That's perfect. There we go.
Lovely. Okay, cool. I'd say right now they are, this sort of project involves business incorporation with what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? So I'm having to research like business practices within children's illustrations and sort of find out more about it. But they're not really expecting us to look into the economics of it and the sort of like financial side of things. It's more the way these designers work and how they their techniques and practices. It's more about that.
I want to pick up on, so first year we all came in. What's the progress like for the other students that lack the understanding of design? Maybe it was their first time ever seen design or graphic work. What's their progress like?
I think slowly everyone's finding their feet. I think people are slowly discovering what they want to do, and they're sort of working out where they fit in the industry. Do you know what I mean? I think that was the whole thing. Like at the beginning in year one, people didn't have a clue, what they wanted to do. And I think year three, I think people are really trying and really figuring out where they are, and where they want to take their career. I think year three is a vital year, definitely. And I think people are definitely doing that right now.
Did anyone take a placement yet?
Lots of people.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's called DPS. A lot of people are doing a year out and then they're coming back.
Some people are taking a year out just as a year out, or they're actually taking placements?
A year in the industry. So they'll be going out, they'll be working in a studio or in a design environment, and then they'll come back a year later and then do year three.
Why didn't you choose? What did you choose?
I didn't. I wanted to get uni over and done with, and two, I kind of want to do that after uni. Do you know what I mean? I didn't really. It didn't really interest me. Do you know what I mean?
It makes sense for you.
And like, it didn't really interest me. It works for some people. I think for the people that ended up doing it, I think they, maybe needed that extra push, and they needed that not push, but like they needed that they needed to know more about the industry before they could take the third year and, you know, finish that off, polish it.
Yeah.
I think they really needed to understand the industry more. And like for me, I didn't really want to waste time doing that. I sort of want to finish off my uni and then do that. Do you know what I mean?
So you want to work for a company or you want to be self-employed?
The end goal, self-employment.
Okay.
The end goal, self-employment. But like right after uni, I'm yeah.
You're gonna work
for a company
first, build your experience, and then build the client base, and then sort of.
That's it. I wanna find out exactly what it takes to run a design agency. I want to go to, an established agency. I want to pick up on everything that they do, everything that works, and I want to replicate that in the future when I eventually do. My goal is to set up a design agency.
You wanna manage your own work on the side whilst working for them, your own client work.
Definitely, 100%. I'm definitely gonna keep that up. Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, I think for us designers, I think one of the most important things is building ourselves. We need to build a portfolio. We need to put our work out there. We need to build experience on the industry. Do you know what I mean? Because every part of that builds us, as people, as designers. You know what I mean? It just makes us that much more valuable to someone. Do you know what I mean? It's like the same way if, a client comes to you, why are they picking you over the next person? You've done work for this person. Therefore, that client might be like, okay, I want to go with you, Domus. I want to go with you because you've worked for Adidas or, whoever. You've done a freelance job for them.
That was one of the challenges for me, is to accept the fact that you can get recognition in the design world without working for a superior brand. I agree with that idea. What's your opinion?
Sorry, say that again.
What's your idea? So you need to gain experience. You have to work for established companies. You need to have work done for superior brands, for example. But do you need that recognition to stand out as a designer? Do you really need to go through that process, or can you push your work through personal development, working with clients, and pushing the best quality out there yourself?
I'd say the latter, definitely. I think they're both good in their own ways. Do you know what I mean? I think if you work for big, well-known clients, that brings, recognition, and that brings sort of validity in itself. But then I think that if you sort of work on, if you sort of work with smaller businesses and sort of like produce quality work for yourself, for example, Instagram content, high quality illustrations, I think that works in a very similar way. Do you know what I mean? I think they're both very, very valuable in themselves.
Both of them would be appropriate. And for me, maybe it's just my mindset of always doing things my way, and
yeah.
But I sort of recognize that within myself, that I see my route, and like everyone has their viewpoints, they want to stick with them, and it's that choice of choosing. But talking about value and the work, what's the most you've been paid for your work? And if you want to disclose that, because there was a post on Instagram in which you said know your worth, and you were flexing your money. So I'm really interested to see what the prices you're charging, and how's that?
I think I will keep the most disclosed. I think right now, I think my goal isn't money.
Yeah.
I don't think my goal will ever be money. I don't think it will. I think I'm saying that now, and I've always said that. Since I started designing when I started designing when I was like 11, learning Photoshop on YouTube, and when I got my first clients, it was never ever the money. It wasn't the money. The money was a bonus. The money taught me about the client and how the client respected me as a designer. I think that's, for me, that's what money means. I think it's the client's appreciation, and it's the client's sort of like how much they think you're worth as a designer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think money's not really my will ever be my goal.
And
Do you know what I mean?
What swayed, like, because for me, for example, I like that understanding. I like the gratitude. I like the understanding of the monetary value, how it should be worked with, what's the worth of money and how it should be used. What do you think led you to having that understanding from the very beginning?
I think it was more the fact that good question. Oh gosh. I don't think I've ever been money driven. I think even when I was younger, it wasn't really money. I wasn't really working for pocket money. You know what I mean? I think pocket money was nice, but pocket money allowed me to do things. That was the goal. What I did with the pocket money was the goal. Do you know what I mean? The pocket money wasn't the goal. You know, and if I could get to that place without needing the pocket money, then I would, and I'd be happy.
You think
Do you know what I mean?
Parents had any impact on the way you...
Definitely. Like I was raised in a very money isn't everything, you know, childhood. Like money wasn't always there. You know, money wasn't handed on a golden plate, but I still had the most incredible childhood. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's...
But you're not competitive either. From my personal view, you're quite neutral in the way you work. You acknowledge others, you approve of them. You're not competing, you're just with yourself in your lane. And that, when I was in uni, and that transition from sixth form where I was just going crazy with the artwork and graphics, where I can just trying to get the best grades, and then moving into uni, I just like, I don't know, I don't say me dropping uni was a bad choice ever. And I'm happy where I am because it was my choice.
Yeah, good.
I've acknowledged that to the point where I'm not regretting it anyway. And plus,
Good.
I feel really bad for everyone who's at uni right now and paying the full tuition fee, for which they should be paying like half maybe, or even less, because it's an online course now. So that's why I'm interested. Like, what's your viewpoint? You're still paying the same amount.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm being robbed, but you know, I'm being robbed point blank.
So I want to know. So tell me what was the best experience about uni and the worst experience?
Oh, best experience, definitely meeting people. 100%. I met some incredible people at uni. People that I'm going to take with me throughout my career. You know, I hope to work with people that I hope to collab with, people that I hope to, you know, travel with. I've met some really incredible people, and I think, yeah, the financial side is definitely detrimental, and I think it's going to be a long lasting thing. But I think for me, I think the people that I met are definitely worth that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would I have met these incredible people if I didn't pay that money? Do you know what I mean? You could argue that I could have met these people elsewhere. You know what I mean? I could have met these type of people in another setting. You know, I could have gone straight into work and met these same people. Do you know what I mean? But I think I wouldn't want anything else. I wouldn't want anything else.
I can summarize your university as a positive endeavor, right?
Yeah. I'd say so. Aside from the money, you could definitely say that. Yeah.
Okay.
You could definitely say that.
I was gonna ask you what's the difficult part? What's the most difficult part about being a graphic designer? What do you think part of that should be, or is the most difficult thing?
The most difficult part of being a graphic designer. Oh, I think definitely building your brand. Definitely building your brand. You have to do the right things. You can't. There's no shortcuts. Because of how saturated the market is as well. You have to stand out. You can't. There's no cutting corners. You have to, you have to put hours and years of work into getting somewhere. Do you know what I mean? You can't skip corners. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So is there any specific plan in the way you approach that?
Work from ground up. Sort of, if you're starting as a graphic designer, you have to acknowledge that it's going to take years and years and years to build yourself. But that should not at all put you off doing it, because it's an incredibly rewarding job. Do you know what I mean? You could be sitting on a beach and you could be making money. Do you know what I mean? And enjoying life. I think that's the beauty of being a freelance graphic designer. You sort of work. You do the work wherever you want, as long as you've got a laptop, as long as you've got internet.
I actually forgot about the fact that whilst being self-employed, and you can choose the location you want to be in, the same way like I chose trading for that same reason.
That's it. Yeah, you're trading. Yeah.
I just couldn't self-realize myself being there and creating, and I just found creating back then a burden. And now when I'm creating for the podcast and stuff, I'm just finding that flow again, which I always had. Like, I've never lost any of the skill. It's just there. So it's just like, I've done so much of it, it's just stuck. But it's cool because I can see that. I remember being in Victoria Park once and I saw a guy doodling and drawing, and I can imagine that was for commission work and it was really good. And that process, I can see you being there. That's possible, yeah.
What, in Victoria Park doodling?
Everywhere, wherever you want to be. Where would you want to be? Well, like what specific place? Like what's your top destination in the sense of you're self-employed now? Where do you want to go and you want to stay there for a couple months? What's that destination?
It's a good question. I'd say for me, South Africa.
Okay, that's actually
South Africa. Animals, people, food, culture.
Surfing? No.
Surfing?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I can't take the laptop, so maybe not. But yeah.
I forgot about that actually. Okay.
Yeah, no, South Africa or Australia, New Zealand. I've got a soft spot for those countries for sure.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna challenge.
What about you?
Me? Oh, actually, yeah, cool. I don't know why, but I'm stuck in that New York hustle vibe. I don't know why. I need to go.
Yeah.
It's about Manhattan.
Yeah.
And then I need to. I don't know why. I want to see what Australia's like. I want to see what Iceland's like. I want to see those top countries. Obviously, I want to travel around Europe. But like, if I was to settle down for a bit, even Bali, I don't know what it is.
Oh yeah.
I've been seeing like the villas, the food, the fresh food, the fruits, everything there, that sort of lifestyle. I feel like that might be a period of time where I want to be, and I don't think I would.
Definitely.
I want to get that tan as well. So.
100%.
Okay, so let me move into challenging. So
okay.
Week by week. So actually, let's start. Before I challenge you, in a sense, I need to know what you do. What's your schedule like? What's your day to day? Tell me like the whole week.
Day-to-day schedule. Right. So I think I'll talk about this later. But let's talk about my schedule.
Yeah.
Wake up 7:40 wake up.
7:40.
Eat breakfast number 1. 7:40 wake up. Eat breakfast number 1. Do some exercise, and then I eat breakfast number 2, and then I do my work. Do my uni work. You know, you have to have a pre-workout and that. And then I do my exercise, and then I've done my exercise.
Yeah.
Have breakfast number 2. Do my uni work or whatever work, freelance work, whatever. Take a break. Have lunch. Do more work. And then do more work until evening.
Yeah.
Have dinner. Watch YouTube. Go to bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many hours do you think you study a day? Or work, in a sense?
6 to 8 hours.
And that'd be a
6
lot,
hours.
because graphic work takes quite a while. It's quite consuming. If you
Yeah, it is. But then you don't see the time go. You
if
don't see
you're
the time go because I've got YouTube on one screen, because I've got 2 monitors, YouTube on one,
enjoying-
Netflix on the other. Do you know what I mean? So once you've got both of those on, time goes. Time is not a thing. Time just,
I miss.
you click,
No, say. That's fine. Sorry for interrupting.
yeah.
Basically,
Sorry.
no, basically, I'm glitching for it. So fine. Basically, I want to say that whilst you're designing, you're able to actually like just draw while like sort of listening to something. Like whilst like
Yeah.
it's so difficult to do that. You can't have YouTube on. So like when I come to theory of trading, I just can't have anything on. Like I might have some silent music on and that's it. But I miss that ability to like listen to whatever, watch whatever you want and still do work as a designer. That's
Yeah.
the part.
Yeah.
Okay, so Monday to Friday you're like that, yeah? Or is it throughout the whole week? What's your weekends like?
Saturday as well. Saturday, and then Sunday, day off.
Well, full day off, yeah?
You know, just some time to sort of
Yeah.
day off. I mean, freelance work,
Yeah.
which I enjoy anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
But
so
apart from that,
now jumping into, because I'm interested. So how much work, if the amount of work you do now, is it a lot?
uni work or client work,
Is that a lot of work?
everything. I'd say uni is definitely dominating it, which it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But right now, I'd say I've got a lot of work on my plate, and that's purely because I've definitely been relaxing. I haven't taken it as serious as I should have, and I've got a deadline in 2 weeks. So I obviously need to, get there and sort out my work, and so right now, this moment in time, I've got a lot of work.
So, but okay, so you got a lot of work. You're not doing as much work. You know you can do more.
Yes.
The tone you're setting, the work. Now, can you do more than the work you're setting yourself for? Even more, stretching it even more.
Yeah, I could.
So
I could.
yeah. So what about?
I could do that.
What about that rest day? Can you eliminate that rest day and integrate rest in a different way?
Do you know what it is though? For me, I think it's that balance.
Yeah.
I need to find that balance, because what I'll find is if I overwork myself,
Yeah.
I won't work the next day, or I'll be too tired to work the next day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then that'll be a whole next day lost. You see what I'm saying? And then the day after I'd work again, overwork myself, but then I'd not do the next day. So then it would equate to less work than if I did a little bit here and there. Do you know what I mean?
So you
An
found
enjoyable, tolerable. Say that again?
You found your middle point, sort of where.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, I need to speed up.
Yeah.
I need to speed up now. I've got 2 weeks, and I'm not where I need to be anyway. But I've definitely sped up, and I'm at a good balance point where I know that I know what I need to do, and when I need to do it for. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not stressing, because what I think one of the biggest demotivators is definitely stress. And I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for everyone. I think when people try and overwork themselves to try and accomplish a goal, stress and overworking themselves puts them at a much worse place than if they didn't stress and overwork themselves. Does that make sense?
Okay, but what?
So say if you,
What are you stressed about specifically?
I'd say, oh, okay, setting myself a goal for the day and not doing it because I've set the goal too high, and I don't end up doing it, and then
you hurt yourself for that. You mentally hurt yourself.
That's what I'm saying. I mentally
Okay.
and then I'm incapable of doing things. Do you know what I mean? Because I couldn't set the goal. I couldn't accomplish the goal I set myself, and that does something to you mentally.
You have a schedule, I presume, then, yeah. Just
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the same way I do as well. Maybe a thing that might help you. You got Idris Elba, and there was a conversation I was listening, and he said set the barriers as high as you can, and don't be scared not to reach for them, not be able to reach for them. You know, you might fall slightly. There might be days where you're more productive, less productive. In my sort of pursuit currently, I don't have any rest day. Like, because purely everything I'm doing is everything I enjoy to do, right? I mean, I was away for a month, and I mean, damn, I didn't do nothing for a month. Like, my laptop crashed, everything. So I'm mentally now coping with the idea I'm not doing nothing, and that's like my nightmare. So like the things I found is like working out, I mean, stretching, you know, and then going to like managing the podcast and managing my trading studies, obviously prioritizing trading as a must. And if anything, dropping the podcast. Like there's these things that I would do just for that specific pursuit. But like that part of me working out, man, that could include me going outside for like 4 hours, you know, with my parents, running the park, having a lunch or brunch. And that's way I relax, you know, and I look at it as sacrifice. Yeah, maybe once a month I might meet with one friend, and then the next month. That's how I rotate. But I don't think you should hit yourself that hard, like, because especially it's design work. I mean, there's those days where like you feel you're in that creative mode, you got the flow, you can create, and then you hit that barrier, which yes, you're trying to break past, but it's so much harder to like balance, because you know you got a book to study. You can just keep studying and then come back to it again if you don't know how to do it. But now you have a deadline and you're trying to manage your ability to work. But don't kill yourself for that. I think I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I'm just very interested in how to make you more productive, and in which format. Are you procrastinating a lot?
I am, but I think one of the most important things, you know, which you brought up, is just enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
I think if you don't enjoy yourself, you're going to be less productive than you know, if you did. Do you know what I mean? So as you said, like, I think that's an incredibly valid and valuable point you brought up about, you know, sacrifice. Is it really sacrifice? Because you're doing something which enhances your ability to do what you need to do. Do you know, if you didn't do that sacrifice, would you have been able to do, you know, achieve that goal? Do you see what I mean? So is it actually a sacrifice?
For me, it's just weird, because like I obviously try to overcrowd myself every day with like probably the same thing over and over again. But I've come into this point where I just don't feel like work anymore. Like, I mean, you hit that barrier where you just sort of click and you're past it. Like I feel like, you know, like you ever listen to Elon Musk and he just doesn't sleep, and you're like, how would you do that? Like, that's where I'm at. I'm like thinking, I'm going to give myself the amount of sleep I need, 8 hours minimum. I'm going to work. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do everything needed, but balance in a way. And I'm not going to say, like, the reason why I'm saying for your rest day, it's interesting. Like, now what you're doing is you're reducing that 1 day of work in a sense, which you could spread over 7 days, not 6.
No, you're right. You're right.
Work every day. And mentally that means
right.
I'm not there that long. So in that moment, actually, you might do more, like, because there's some days are just like that, you know, you might flip and you want to do more. Some days you might do less, but I feel like it starts compensating for it in the long term. So that's why it's interesting. Like, let's say, for example, let me tell me, where are you more productive, morning or evening?
Morning.
Okay, so
morning, I'd say. Yeah.
Let's say it's a Sunday and it's your rest day, but you wake up 2 hours earlier before your parents wake up, or even 3 hours, and you put some work in and give the rest of your day like rest. Doesn't that seem more productive and enjoyable, just from like one way of looking at it?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm not against for your rest. I think I'm just challenging you in the idea of pushing yourself even more, because
no, I agree.
Because I want,
definitely,
you know, people
I think like,
I speak with here, like, I aim for you guys to like reach high and work your asses off. And in that sense of a sacrifice, I mean, like, you're gonna have to put in so much work that you might not see your family as much, or you might not have as much fun. But that's the whole idea, because later on it'll pay off in your brand, it'll pay in your craft, and then you can pursue those things that you wanted to. But my concern is putting you back onto that grind, making sure that you're focused and you're not slacking as much, because now you're trying to, okay, I'm interested. How much do you read as well? What's your reading? None?
Nah, non-existent.
What about do you watch YouTube or any information that solely relies on personal building?
A lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
I do listen to a lot of podcasts. Yeah, I think they're very, very valuable. Definitely.
It's just interesting, you know. Obviously, I can't say one way and you're gonna have to do it. It's your independent journey, and it's me providing the ideas. But I remember when being in university with you and seeing your work and seeing some of your work on Instagram, there is a huge potential for which the fact that you're slowing down, I feel you putting that excuse that I might get tired and I might get that block is sort of holding you back. And I don't know if you've pushed that barrier. Have you pushed that barrier?
Yeah. I'm pushing it.
Okay, so you're experimenting with that, which is good. That's the idea. If you're not following through on those, see, I feel like for me, in a way, the way I work, I'm not gonna mention your way because I don't know the way you do your stuff, but over the time of me pushing myself to the limits and falling back and, you know, dropping back because I might have exhausted myself too much, I've come to the point where I don't exhaust for a while. And then if I need a break, it's just a day or 2 days and I'm back, because in those 2 days, I get angry because I'm not doing the work. And it's sort of that flip on the switch. Like you have to, I don't know, aggravate yourself, get yourself angry like Hulk or something, then you sort of just got to push through it. And I don't know, like whether you want to incorporate that or try that with yourself. I just know that you need to get a top grades from university, stand out from everyone, you know, make sure you got the work going on side of your Instagram, everything. And that's, managing it is quite difficult in a sense. But tell me, what's holding you back now? Like
Holding me back. I'd say right now the uni work. But apart from that,
but what's is it difficult? Or is it just not interesting?
It's interesting. Don't get me wrong, it's interesting. I mean, I've picked the thing, so I picked something which, you know, I'm gonna find interesting, but it's the monotonous of the work. Do you know what I mean? It's the sort of like writing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Do you remember when we did the visual summaries in year one?
Oh my, I don't even.
When you did the catalogue where we went out to London and took those photos of the buildings, and then you did that book with all the writing.
That's calm. That was really calm. I'm talking about other stuff, like they told us to do like the exams, read the book and write about the book. I really understand
no.
of it now.
Thankfully, we don't have any of that this year.
It's actually really good, and I'm just disappointed with the choice of books. Maybe like the fact that they refrain you to one type of book, it makes you all the same in a way, even though there are different interpretations. I just don't like that because it wasn't your choice or interest. So that's what makes people not enjoy the book itself. But that catalog thing, I mean, that's just a bit of waffle. But when they ask you to like write like 500 words for this and that and make sure you're blogging, I'm like, I'm trying to design. Why are you putting my priority on writing? You know?
Right. Well, I mean, we've got a 10,000 word essay to write for February. So we've got, that's also another thing. Huh?
About what? What would it be about?
So again, we've got free roam of that. We're allowed to write whatever we want.
You've got time
so I've chosen. Sorry?
You've got a lot of time till February.
Yeah, I've got enough time. I mean, my discussion is about whether aquariums, like the public aquariums, whether they promote environmentally responsible behavior. And I find that personally quite interesting. And, you know, reading up, that's probably the most reading I've done in years. Looking up, you know, reading all these scientific studies and reading all this data about like human nature connectedness, and how like that is just something so biologically ingrained into us, you know, and it's something we don't really think about, you know, we don't really think about it in our day-to-day lives. Sorry?
Have you started it?
I have. So I've
Yeah.
been doing a lot of. I've had to submit 3K words last week. So I'm taking a break from that right now, and I'm focusing on my other project.
Yeah.
But I need to pick that up soon. But yeah, that's enjoyable. I'm enjoying that. Just not really writing that much.
Like you really stand for, especially like because we're seeing a lot of your Instagram work based off like working for the bee society, and you know you're like doing volunteering for that thing, and that's really going to build your brand because it shows who you are as a character. And I like,
yeah, but it's like it's what I enjoy, you know, it's what I enjoy, and it's something I've always wanted to do since I was a child. I think, you know, like especially when I was younger, like looking at these adverts on TV, you know, support this charity. Snow leopards are becoming an endangered species, and this, you know, pay this money. And that always hit me hard as a child, because I was like, okay, I don't have enough money. I don't want to see these animals die. You know what I mean? And I think the older I got, the more I realized that, yeah, money is an incredibly important asset, especially when it comes to wildlife conservation. It's one of the most important assets. But I think another important asset is ourselves and what we can do, you know, our skill sets. You know, we're designers. We can create things to change the world. That's what designers do. We're given a problem and we work to solve that problem. Do you know what I mean? So why can't we use design to help save a species? Why can't we use design to contribute towards wildlife conservation?
but the problem I feel would rely on solely the people, and that's the interesting part. How do you educate the people to be self-aware, and like, because we all have actions which have reactions, and a lot of people are inconsiderate of what they do. The poachers, a lot of people, but I don't think they're educated, nor do they have the privilege in life. They don't have a choice, I think. So that's their actions. That's what leads them to that.
Yeah.
So it's thinking
100%.
we want equality throughout the world, from a basis of countries of being able to do that, make a living, feel safe, you know. And then that should translate eventually into conservation of things. But I feel like that's not a priority. I don't see that happening or happening any quick. You know, we're capitalist and we want more, and we're building our countries, but could we sort of all combine our efforts to help the underlying of other countries and, you know, push their economic growth? But then would everyone be competing for something again? There's so many underlying factors.
It's very complicated. Very complicated.
So unless you get like a billionaire like Jeff Bezos under you right now, and he's solely like you, passionate about this thing, that problem would be solved. Probably, most likely. I mean, he'd find ways. I mean, look at Amazon itself. Like, but you need, like, everyone needs to stand for it. Like, just like Black Lives Matter, we stood for it. It's like another thing where like it just has to keep on going every day.
Yeah.
We got our priorities somewhere else. We got Brexit right now. Who cares if we're in Europe or not in Europe? And then again, we don't know nothing about the government or the policies or how everything operates. We just live in and we see problems and we want them to be sorted. So I feel like very complicated, but I really want that to be pushed, what you said, because I feel bad for the leopards as well. Like, I mean, there was an animal recently that was already extinct, and even the rhinos are close to extinction, and it's terrible.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Like, that's the thing. I think, as you said, like earlier, you know, poachers, that's their way of life. You know, I think a few years ago, I used to have absolute hatred towards poachers. You know, like I really thought they were disgusting people, and yeah, they are. You know, but can I blame them? Am I someone living in poverty in one of these third world countries, having to feed my family? You know, this is just a job given to those sort of people by a higher position. You know, we need to tackle that higher position. That's what we need to do. And we need to provide jobs in animal conservation to those people that need it. so that person needing to feed their family doesn't get offered a job by, you know, a high position to be a poacher. They got offered a job by a high position to be a protector, you know, to be a ranger, to be a vet. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what we need to really focus on.
Have you seen the other side of poachers though? Because there's an interesting one. Recently, my dad sent photos of other family friends, and there's actually a thing where, because like for example deer, they spread quite quick. You're legally allowed in certain places to pay for the deer and go hunt it because you're driving them out of them. Like that's fine, you know. And hunting ducks in a sense, like if it's maintained, it's, I don't know if it's ethical, but at least maybe the death is a bit quicker than, you know.
Like I think my position on that is, you know, for example with the deer, we, especially in the UK, we wiped off all the wolves, we wiped off all the bears, we wiped off all the lynx, so there is no predators for these deer. So we need to naturally cull them, you know, to keep the population down, otherwise they will eat native flowers and wipe out flowers species and plant species. Do you know what I mean? And then that's another thing for us to do with. So we need to keep the population down because they don't have predators here. That I don't have a problem with. What I do have a problem with is, you know, Western, you know, like people with money going over to Africa, especially Africa, South Africa, the big five, and going and shooting these animals and paying, you know, to shoot these animals illegally in, you know, in these reserves which are meant to protect the animals. You know, I think that's really, really, really unfair, and I think that's something we need to really focus on. I don't think they, you know, there's arguments about how they contribute towards conservation, do they? Because they want to aim for the alpha animal, the animal that is supposed to carry on the genes to, you know, upkeep the species. You know, the alpha lion, you know, the alpha leopard, the alpha, you know, whatever. That strong animal, that dominant animal, is there to, you know, carry on the species, to provide genes for strong offspring. Now, if someone goes there and pays money to shoot that animal, we could, you know, do you see what I'm saying?
Because that's the thing, those people who are providing that stuff, they don't have any other choice. But it all comes from the fact that when they're born, the way they're brought up as a family, who brought them up, what's the conditions like, what's the education like. They had no education, so where did they go? They either choose the good or the wrong. They might go to gangs, then they might find the legal contraband, and it keeps cascading into that. And this I mean, I think zoos are helping, but then again, it's bad because you have them locked up. The people I really love watching from the conservation of the animals is Tarzan, and you got the other guy who
real Tarzan,
Tarzan, and the other guy who has lions, and he has a lot of them, and he got hyenas as well, and he's like
Black Jaguar or something. Is that the one?
He's got like bleached hair right now. I think he had bleached hair anyway. I don't know. I presume there's a few of them.
Okay.
But that's good to see. Like at least that's an interesting thing to watch as well. Like on YouTube, like that actually catches my eye. Which
definitely. What are your views on zoos and aquariums?
On zoos, I'd say have a zoo, but you need to expand the space. I mean, they need to feel like they're free. They have literally as much space as they need to do the things that they were born for, you know, to sort of live. Maybe yes, we won't have that sightseeing effect that we have now in the zoos, but I honestly don't think we should care about that. I think it's conserving them more. It's always a blessing to see them, to see the actual, like, because, you know, we're born into something, we've never seen these animals, we see them into real life, and we really know what life was like before civilization right now. I really don't like when they hold sea life like in such small containers, especially like you got these sea lions as well. They just got like cubes, like polar bears as well, penguins. They're such a small place. I don't know what to say, but they need to expand on that. And there's recently on the news about closing down, if in Lithuania, in Klaipėda specifically, if they don't change amendments and increase space for the animals to 500 acres from whatever they're doing now, and there's sort of requirements which you could look into. I was just listening to it on the news yesterday. Then again, they'd close them down, and that again happens.
No way.
Where does the animals go? But how do you improve that? Because they're setting the limit so high that you need to do it so quickly. It's impossible to do in that time. Yes, we can expand, but even again, Lithuania isn't economically as highly developed, but it's better than some underlying other countries, and it's interesting to see that they're still tackling this. Is good, but should we really have zoos? It's something to play like. It's literally for entertainment as a point of view, but I don't know. Then again, it was part of the process which led us to being here. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't be sort of safe in our environments now. So the species, the dominant species, we're ruling right now, and I think we should move away from that now. We figured it out practically, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. yeah, interesting. No, it's good. It's good.
Tell me a favorite quote and why.
A favorite quote. Ooh, I can't remember any quotes at the top of my head, but I think some of my favorite quotes do come from Sir David Attenborough and Steve Irwin. I can't say anything right now.
But you have them. You rely on.
I've got them. I've relied. Yeah, I definitely take a lot of inspiration from the things.
Do you journal?
Said. No.
Would you want to start that? I journal, yeah, quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's just like I think about it in a way like, okay, so I'm studying, I'm doing this, I might have psychological things that I'm coping with, and what happens is then when you're writing it down, you're discussing it. So podcast, what's so great about me and you having a conversation is that subconsciously you're going to actually figure out some few problems that you need to fix through conversation. And it's as simple as having that talk, whether it's written, whether it's you speaking to the computer and you recording yourself, whether having us a conversation, it will solve those problems which you cannot figure out. It will click.
Absolutely.
So me having my conversations with my mentor, it has led me to the podcast. It's led me to other things. It's led me to recording myself in evaluations. It's led me to writing evaluations every day. And I can't not do it. Like me being away and seeing what I can't do and where I'm going and sort of like ripping everything away from myself. I knew that this is the lifestyle I want to pursue.
Good.
You need to start journaling in a sense. It will make you self-aware where you are, who you are,
okay,
what you want to improve on. It doesn't have to be always this concise, like you don't need to know what to write. You need to come there and talk to yourself or imagine you're talking to someone, but it will lead you to places which you never knew about yourself in that sense. So I think
interesting. Yeah, I think I'll definitely think about that.
Have you ever considered before doing it?
Yeah, I have thought about it. You
know what held me away from it was like, diaries, and sort of it was a girly thing sometime, and then I was realizing into self-development. It's sort of a childish idea, like you want to know about yourself to that point where you can control yourself. Like I'm really interested now in all the actions you choose. Do you think you're in self-control?
Most of the time.
Sometimes you might get swayed or influenced by other external. Other people. So it's that being available to yourself and understanding that I've experienced these underlying factors and now I can work with that and fix that. So I'm saving time, but I'm focusing on what's important. And then again, that could relate back to your work, that could relate back to uni, your future, your relationships with people. And that just keeps cascading. And that's basically what I do. I talk about what's my problems, what did I do well. The one thing I do is I'm always writing down what I'm grateful for. And that's a thing which I think a lot of people should do. I don't know. Do you do it? Do you consider?
I don't, but that's a really, really interesting thing actually. Have
Because
you felt that's helped you?
do you know what? I've changed so much in 3 years right now, and from where I was in uni and the person I left and the person I'm now, I'm not that same person anymore. Not the way I think, not the way
Really,
I operate.
really, yeah.
I'm not saying I was immediately grateful for after I left and I started to do everything as soon as I left, or that process took me a while. It took me a lot of books to read, a lot of information, a lot of digging into myself, a lot of building plans, building structure, building schedules, focusing in and failing, a lot of failing. You know, I remember saying, I want to be trading, I want to get to this result, this result. Everything doesn't happen the way you plan for it. It might take longer. You have to acknowledge the fact it could take 6 years, it could take 10 years, but that sacrifice will lead you to have the best life later on. So my priority was making sure I do everything now for later on to do whatever I want to do, but making sure I teach myself. So if you're saying being grateful for something, yes, I think acknowledging, like the simple thing, like you look outside the window, I'm so grateful for every day, for the weather, for like the air, for just something as little as like seeing a little bird. Like it literally means nothing. Like the paper on the table you have, the computer screen, and you know, the family,
Absolutely,
list
absolutely,
as much as you want. If you start
absolutely.
you'll see your positivity, right? That's basically the effect of it, and you have a negative impact on you. You look at the other thing, you look at the small thing, and it just dials that thing back down. It has no room. So that's the process of it. So if
Absolutely.
I'd say get into it, and it suits everyone's character, particularly yourself. I thought you might have been doing that, but you're generally a humble guy yourself anyway. So
Thank you. No, that's a really, really interesting venture actually. I think I'm going to consider that, because during lockdown especially, I've become way more aware of, you know, how I've taken things for granted in life. And I think lockdown for me was incredibly humbling.
Yeah.
You know, I think if I'm being honest with you, Thomas, I think I'd go as far as to say 2000 and this year was the best year of my life. Definitely, I'd say it was the best year of my life, because I learned a lot about myself.
Yes.
That I needed that time. I needed those restrictions. I needed that time and that space to sit at home away from everyone and just think about me, and just think about, what am I doing? What are my goals in life? What do I want to achieve? How do I achieve that? Am I doing the right thing now? You know, and I had to make and lockdown gave me the opportunity to make those choices.
Yeah.
It gave me the time to make those choices.
But did you
Yeah.
act on them?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
that's the most important part we can take from that is like,
Absolutely. And there's things that I wouldn't ever go back on. I would never, you know, like for example, now I wake up at 7:40. I don't think that's enough time. I don't think I have enough time in the day. Do you know what I mean? I wake up at 7:40 and I'm thinking, should I wake up at 6? Because I need that extra time to do what I need to do to accomplish my goals. Say that again.
how much do you sleep?
I try and get 8 to 9 hours of sleep.
Let me tell you a funny fact. Matthew McConaughey, an actor, you probably know. So he sleeps 9 to 10 hours a day. Like
Yeah.
crazy hours, and you got this where everyone's saying if you sleep 8 hours a day, you're sleeping for 1/3 of your life. But then again, if you get sleep deprived, you have underlying health issues, and then you might.
That's it.
It makes no sense for me. So, but let's say the way you should operate, in a sense, find the time where you wake up and use that as the most productive period, because the more time you have doesn't mean you'll be more effective. Trust me.
Yeah. 100. I think, yeah, I completely agree.
So yeah, I think consider that. I mean, you're waking up quite a good time. I wake up. I tried. There was recently, because I've come back. I'm quarantining. I'm not working. I'm not nothing.
Oh, okay, cool.
I wake up at 7:30, and then I go sort myself out. Maybe 7. Before, when I left for Lithuania, before leaving to Lithuania, I was doing consistently like 6, 7 o'clock working out, and then doing everything else I needed to do before
Wow.
and after work. So sort of managing everything. But now it's like you got 24 hours, like every single person in this world. How do you use that 24 hours? What's the most effective period of that day where you're excited, you're buzzing for that day? How do you manage? Where's your family time? Because that's a really important factor, and quarantine, I mean, the whole COVID should have taught you that lesson where your family is a very important and reliant asset for the rest of your future. If you're not working with
absolutely.
them, if you're not giving them time, why should they give your time, And it's being less obnoxious about me. It's about others as well. So it's a lot of interesting stuff. But I'm gonna chill away because I'm talking a lot and I wanna hear more about you. You got
really interesting.
I'll keep
really interesting.
I
love it, man. I love it.
You got music talent. I don't know if anyone knows, but you DJ, I think.
Yeah, I've dabbled in it. Definitely during the summer. I played around on the decks. It gave me time to mess around with that side of things.
And from there,
I've definitely slowed down on it, man. Like I just don't. Uni, freelance, building, it doesn't really time with my brand. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy it, but like, it's not the most. I do it when I want, and it doesn't really align with what I'm currently doing at this stage of my life.
Can we, at the end of this conversation, I don't know if you guys will see it or hear it, but I want to help you develop a schedule maybe, or so let's see if we can build up on something and make sure that you have more integration so that you're being more productive. But we'll do that afterwards. Have you set a time for when you want to achieve something, like specifically a year or?
No, and I don't know whether I will. The only thing I have thought about is when I'm gonna have like a child, and I don't. That's the only thing I've actually set a goal. I don't want to have a child after like 30.
Okay, that makes sense.
After 30, because I want to be young enough. I want to be agile enough to actually deal with the child and enjoy my the bringing up my child. Apart from that, I've set nothing, because for me, I think everything just happens when it needs to happen, like for example, this year has been, as I said, one of the best years of my life, probably the best year of my life. Like I had the opportunity to be part of Pangaia's new Changemakers campaign, and that was completely spontaneous. That was completely spontaneous, but it was exactly what I needed before lockdown, before coronavirus started to sweep in and gobble up society. And then I had other opportunities working with the Bumblebee Conservation Trust this year, and Yoke, the Polish beauty brand. Just amazing opportunities. The opportunity here you're providing, giving me the platform to speak and have a conversation with you. Like, it's these sort of things which are so spontaneous. Do you know what I mean? But they really add to what I want to do, and they really add to my end goal. You know what I mean?
To your self-understanding, because you're spreading that word. You bring attention to yourself. You're actually telling your brand who you are, because now people who follow you on Instagram, they not only know what you design, but they know how you think. So I think that's an important part for yourself, as well. So, but like, these conversations are just interesting, because for me, I haven't spoken in 2 years. I can't wait to move into conversation with people I don't know, because I really want to know how that goes.
Yeah.
I think I'm ready. I think it's fine. But yeah, I'm really happy to see that this year was productive for you, as well as it's been good, because a lot of people are just stuck on the negative, Nah, this is bad. But that's where the problem is. If they don't want to move away from the bad, that is sort of it's a cycle which people fall into, and it's really difficult to get out, especially when you're surrounded by the wrong people. So that's where that initial idea comes from. Have you watched The Social Dilemma?
About what is it about?
About social media, and was on Netflix.
I have. Yes, I have.
What are your thoughts?
I did watch it. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
I love it. I think it was a great documentary, but I'm gonna confess to you that I haven't really changed my ways social media wise. You know what I mean? Like I watch it, for afterwards I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll look at my phone funny and be like, maybe I should put you down a bit more. But I haven't. I'm gonna hold my hands up and say I haven't.
No, you should realize there's these funny things, like I've turned off basically, like I've left only notifications on for the things that are really important, the managing the podcast now, and I've unfollowed everything based on memes, and I'm following basically if you want to entertain yourself, you got
definitely
TikToks, you got something like that a bit if you want to waste your time. But if you ever realize, leave your phone, I get like a notification from eBay, and I was like selling stuff on eBay and making the money during summer with my mum's stuff, and then you can just get it rings, and then you pick up and it's like, oh, 50% deal. Like all it's doing is trying to get your attention, and it's so weird because the one thing I will say, and it's the only characteristic that everyone should pick up on now, if you're psychologically not self-aware and strong independently, and you know what you want to do at that specific moment without being drawn into something, that's going to manipulate you. So you have to first work on yourself. I mean, whether that's cool, working with books, research and studying, I think that's that's something worth to do, because you're gonna waste so much time on that phone, and they're basically manipulating you, which is the terrible part. Because imagine they say they know what your psychological state is better than you. What does that mean?
Absolutely. Amazing.
How can a computer know that? And I'm seeing you're letting a computer rule your life because it's making you make actions that you're not realizing. So it's very important. That whole thing was very important to listen to. And for people who haven't watched it, please go watch it, because it's something very educational, and everyone should be more self-aware psychologically. But I'm glad you watched it. Maybe try to tone down some notifications.
It was incredible. And I think definitely, touching on unfollowing meme pages and very unresourceful pages on Instagram, that's definitely been something I've been doing. I've been cutting down on meme pages, useless information, toxic information, which is subconsciously changing the way I think and changing me as a person. And I want to delve more into supporting local businesses, supporting my friends, and sort of like well-being, my well-being, so following, fitness accounts, and sort of those sort of things, to sort of like motivate me and give me that sort of like, that boost, instead of, looking at a toxic meme, which is going to make you think about yourself or someone else in a different light. It's manipulative, man.
Instagram does have a lot of influence, not just in general social media has, but have you ever considered like unfollowing everyone to the stage of the only people you care about or you're sort of supporting? Is that an idea you ever considered?
Yeah, it is. It definitely it's definitely something I want to do. But I think right now I'm at the stage where I want to be inspired by people. And I think in order for me to do that, I need to follow, if I see someone's work I like and I love what they're doing, I'll follow them. Even if I don't know them, I want to follow them and see where they go and see whether their work influences my work or inspires me in a certain way. But I think eventually it will get to the point where I will be done with that. I will, only follow the people that I care about and the people that, that sort of thing. But yeah, definitely. What about you?
Me, the way I filtered I want to do everything exactly the way you said, but what I did instead was I disconnected for a few years. I unfollowed everyone who I have no interest in, nor will we meet, or nor do we bring value to each other. And now starting again with the people I have and finding new people, building valuable relationships.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Building that sort of audience that I enjoy being around that person. He's bringing positive like emotions to me, and there's no negativity, because first of all, there's just a lot of rubbish out there, and it's that diluting that information to only the positive is quite difficult.
Absolutely.
It's hard to drop a lot of people, and it's hard to like sort of like just like wash them over in a sense, like you knew them, you actually were with them someday. But then you have to solely rely on who do you want to be. You want to make a change, you want to stand out in a sense, become someone better, you know, and those people are just dragging you down because you're seeing that Instagram sort of personification of them, and you're admiring them for the wrong things, and you're changing your identity for them. So it's very complicated, but in a sense, it's very simple. Leave the people who you want to keep following in life. Make sure you leave your friends, family, and everyone else, you know, just drop them. There's just those specific people that are just unnecessary. It's not meaning, follow the people you're very interested in. And generally, if it's everyone, that's fine. That's up to you. But make sure that they don't have any impact on you. And that's another question for me, which leads, it's going to be the last question before the 5 main questions, but it's interesting. You want to be average or do you want to be successful? And how do you define being average?
I think ooh, I think I want to be successful. I think everyone wants to be successful. I think being average is just following.
Wait, you can start 1 second.
Crowd.
Repeat
Being
that.
a sheep is following.
1 second.
Being average is.
There we go. We're back.
Yeah. Cool. Being average is following society's expectations of you. You know, being average is you know, getting a 9-to-5 job, working unhappily, you know, not having enough time to do what you enjoy. You know, that's being average. I think if you want to be someone else, I think you need to, you know, set aside society's expectations of you as a person, and you need to excel. You need to do what makes you happy. You know, you need to do what makes you happy, and whatever makes you happy will naturally allow you to reach new heights. I think that's, you know.
Would you think that the previous, let's say our parents' generation, do you think, because I'm coming to this point of understanding they didn't have that ability. I don't think they had that choice. So them doing, I think that's why we're so encompassed in that, you know, finding that purpose. Because previously I don't think that choice was available. I think it was about surviving and doing whatever was necessary at the best standard, and whether you got, but you made sure your family was there. So it's interesting. And okay, judging, do you think it's appropriate to judge a person? Because it always gets my nerves.
Do you think it's appropriate to judge? No, I don't think so. I think judge a person as in look at someone and sort of like do what?
I'm saying setting standards for some people you want to meet, you know, the standards for life. Do you think that's I feel like that's appropriate? No, having standards for who you want to be around, the type.
Yeah, I'd say that's appropriate.
I'm not saying. Go on.
Yeah, I think different people are at different stages in life, and I think different people are at stages in life which may align well with your stage in life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And maybe someone isn't. So, for example, like if someone's sitting at home smoking weed all day, just not doing anything, I'm not gonna judge that person and write them off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at that person, and I'm gonna just say that person's at a stage in life where they haven't, you know, maybe they're happy with what they're doing, maybe they're financially stable enough, and their goals in life are to do that. Maybe that's what makes them happy, and maybe that's what they want to do. That doesn't particularly align with what I want to do.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I'm going to belittle that person. That doesn't mean that I'm going to look at that person in a unsuccessful manner, because maybe they are successful to themselves. Maybe that's what they wanted to do. You know, they are successful in that regard, but their goals don't align with mine. Their lifestyle goals don't align with mine. Therefore, I might not particularly regard them as a valuable asset to evolving me.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm trying to say?
That's
Do you see
basically
what
the answer I was looking for, and you put it.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'd say. Yeah.
That's a good answer because
Yeah. It's hard to word that one. It's hard to word.
If you have, it's like, meeting random people, it's not saying you're not giving them a chance by the way they look or the way they dress. It's listening them out and then deciding whether you want to continue building on that.
That's it. That's it. Absolutely.
You don't have to be friends with everyone. You don't have to get along with everyone. And yes, you can have those standards because they do basically put you in society where you want to be, in a sense, So without that, those people who are wasting their time, or that's their type of success, they need to understand that every single set standard, you have to improve to get there, and it sort of works the way up. And it's not to belittle them. I hope a lot of people change their mindset from mocking them, and just understanding that they're fine with where they are. Just focus on you, and just
that's it. I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, that's exactly my view on it.
So now moving into the 5 questions that we got left. I've answered one already, but how do you stay
How do I stay
positive?
How do I stay positive? Again, I think just enjoy what you're doing. Find what you want to do in life, or what makes you happy at your stage in life. If smoking weed, sitting at home makes you happy, then it will make you positive. You need to be happy. You need to be happy with what you're doing. I think maybe in order to find happiness, you need to make sacrifices and work a 9 to 5 to make enough money to do certain things. Maybe that's what you have to do. But I think you need to find that balance. You need to find that balance of sacrifice, and you need to find that balance of happiness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how you stay positive. Definitely.
Do you think there should be billionaires?
Do I think there should be billionaires? Good. Yeah, I don't know. What I'm gonna throw it back to you. What do you think? Do you think there should be? What do you think?
I don't see them doing particularly any harm. Besides, yes, building that capital, but in a sense, they're refiltering that money very wisely. Like, you got Bill Gates' fund, which is basically he's giving like a couple million to his children, and the rest is going to donation to charities.
Yeah, I respect that.
And the idea that without these people, we wouldn't have those developments being made. And there's so many things, like, I don't think we're quite self-observant for what they actually do. I think social media actually quite puts everything into one little segment of what they actually do. Like, I think they encompass so many things that people actually forget that they're actually in long term wishing us the best, for society, building something. But it's really hard to acknowledge when for the forefront of everything is all we hear that Forbes magazine is publishing how much money they are worth or how much they made. And it's
Absolutely.
that some millionaires and some billionaires, they might not be ethically like good people, and like, yes, let's try to filter them out, but we can't. They made that for themselves. We need more people actually to be like billionaires, but also very self-observant about the world, and I think we'd get to a very good place in life. But that's gonna take time.
Absolutely, 100%.
Elon Musk is doing a good job. I'm enjoying seeing what he's doing, with the life outside of space. That's gonna build a lot of space for people to spread. I mean, Jeff Bezos ain't doing anything bad. I don't know every single billionaire, and that's not my research, but we can all improve in a sense. And I don't think we should have that cap, but we'll see. It's interesting if Jeff Bezos is going to start making more than governments in like England, let's say, like as a whole. That's quite interesting. What can you do with that?
That is, yeah.
So,
definitely. Definitely.
So,
really interesting answer.
No problem. I'm trying my best. What would you say 2 years ago if you knew where you were now?
What would I say 2 years ago if I knew where I was now?
To yourself. So.
I'd say don't. I'd say expect the unexpected. I'd say expect the unexpected. For me, I don't really set goals. I've said that earlier on. I don't really set goals, but I will work towards them. I will make sure that they happen, but they will happen in their own time.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say in 2030 I'm going to have my own company.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that, but I am going to say I will have my own company, and I will make sure that happens. Whether that happens in 2030 or 2040, I will make sure that happens.
Yeah.
You know, so what I'd say to my younger self is, don't set expectations. You know, expect the unexpected. Set goals, not expectations. That's what I'd say.
Okay,
Definitely.
so now when you haven't read a book in a while, what book would you want
Yeah.
to read and why?
Oh, what book would I want to read? Probably E.O. Wilson's Biophilia Hypothesis. It's a book about it's a book about humans' biological dependence on nature.
That's actually
about why we actually need nature. About why our primitive selves, why we relied so heavily on nature, and why today we do, but we don't think about it. You know, if all green spaces were to be completely wiped out and all we had were concrete urbanized living spaces, how would we be? You know, would that biological dependence kick in? Would we be like, okay, I need a tree, I need grass, I need, you know, birds or whatever?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's a really interesting book I wanna look into.
So
and I will eventually read that. But
sure.
referring to the last point, I'm not going to set a set a date to that one, but I will make sure I do read that. Okay. For sure.
See, if it was me, I'd tell you buy the book today, and you'd have to read it already, because if
yeah,
that much value, then I'm saying you need to get it done now, because it will lead you on to something more important as we go. But I'm not gonna force you into that. Current inspiration, and that'll be the last question.
Current inspiration. I've got quite a few inspirations. You know, I think I surround myself with inspirations. I look up to people. I don't really like the term, like bumlick or, that sort of like, that like, do you know what I mean? When you look so highly of someone, you know, a friend, and if you say, oh, they're my inspiration.
You glitched out a bit. 1 second, you're gonna have to repeat that again.
No, I'm inspired by them. People.
You glitched. 1 second. We have to get you.
Cool.
There we go.
Cool.
Say that again.
Yeah. Okay. So so say your friend is doing something good, right? And you say, oh, I'm inspired by your work. You're an inspiration. I love your work.
Yeah.
Other people will chat and say, you're a bomblick. I don't agree with that. I think, if anything, it's the most important thing you can do. I think one of the most important things to do is look at your friends and peers, family, and say, I love what you're doing, keep it up. You know, you inspire me, because it helps you and it helps them. So I'm not afraid to say I'm inspired by you, because, you know, you've created a platform for people like myself to speak and just have an amazing conversation about life and really talk philosophically about you know, everything. You know, I'm inspired by that, because it's something, it takes a certain person to do that. It takes a certain person to create a brand without thinking about, you know, the monetary you know, value of doing this, and just create something so organic, create something so just human. Do you know what I mean? You know, we can have a conversation face to face and just talk about these amazing topics without. So I'm inspired by you. I'm inspired by you know, Steve Owen, the Crocodile Hunter, David Attenborough, and a number of other people, amazing people. I like to surround myself in people who build me. You know, I think that's what we all have to do. And yeah, definitely.
Some of the people who mention you say public are just not the type of people you should be around. Maybe they just need to like gap to maturity. Maybe it might be banter as well, but you know, to all those guys who
No, it's not really. No, I'm not saying that I get called a public or anything, but you know, in school when people would say public this, public that, public, it's like it's not allowing you to have inspirations.
Yeah.
It's not allowing you to look at someone and say, I love what you're doing. It doesn't give you that room, you know. It sort of like confines you to a space where you have to grow by yourself.
You think in other perspectives, I feel like parents have an impact on that, because you're saying you look up to someone and they're just like, okay. It's like they don't. It's obviously so hard, because imagine you put yourself into a parent's shoe and you trying to imagine your child saying something and you're like, he's just starting to grow, develop, and you're trying to take it serious, but it's so hard because a lot of things that you say are just like maybe random and sort of so it's like I don't, you know, they might have an effect as a child as well, for you to say less to them about who you inspire to and maybe keep it to yourself maybe more. I'd feel like that could be an option, but I don't think like care what other people think in the end. You know, it's focusing on everyone who you love, you care about, and yourself as a priority and the future ahead.
100%. 100%.
I appreciate you for coming on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
This conversation was a conversation I really wanted for a while. Really wanted to know where you're taking your work to the next level, what's going to happen. And yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch. And maybe after a year, we'll come back and do another one. We don't know. But yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
And if you got to here, click subscribe, like, comment, share, all of that. Much love.
Take care.